Today we're going to be moving up the ranks and reviewing Sinclair's E.G.O 9-2. 9-2 is a He level E.G.O. It's got a 26 base with a -10 roll, an attack weight of 3, and does blunt damage. This is the third Sinclair ID in a row that's been using negative coins, but that's alright because his best ID is a negative coins ID. So, when that changes though, there's going to be a little bit of a problem. But right now, we're still cruising. Before attack, at 4+ Lust Resonance, you gain additional attack weight, and if it's an absolute Lust Resonance, you gain another one. So, maximum attack weight on this E.G.O can roll up to 5. On hit, if there's no burn already on the target, then you inflict 4 burn. And on hit, inflict 4 burn. Tails hit, if the target has 10 or more burn, inflict attack power down and 1 defense level power down on the next turn, which is pretty decent, the attack power down. But you have to get it there, which you will not get it there by just using this E.G.O, and you don't inflict any potency, so you're gonna need outside help to get that. Your passive, Prophecy of Ruin, on heads hit with Lust Affinity skill, lower the unit's target's SP by 4. Now, it also gained 5 less E.G.O resources on kill with a Lust Affinity skill. That's pretty good. If you stack that with Impending Days passive, you're going to be getting 10 less resources. That is actually a very sizable amount, just combining 2 passives. As for all He E.G.Os, well, not all, but most of them, it'll cost you 25 sanity, and holy smokes is this ever expensive, coming in a whopping 2 Wrath, 5 Lust, and 1 Envy. That's pretty expensive for what it's worth. And while the resistance is ineffective to Wrath, endured to Lust, fatal to Gloom, and fatal to Pride. If you decide to crow this E.G.O, your roll will change to a 33 with a -16 coin. Your damage type will stay the same, being blunt, and you'll have an attack weight of 3, which is the same. Before attack, at +4 Lust Resonance, you gain 1 additional attack weight, and at +4 Absolute Lust Resonance, you'll gain another one. So, like before, you'll be rolling a maximum of 5 attack weight. On hit, like before, if your target has no burn, you inflict burn, but this time, instead of 4, you're inflicting 6. And on hit, you inflict 4 burn. On tails hit, if the target has 10+ burn, inflict 2 Lust Fragility next turn, which is good because on corrosion, you'll actually be hitting that effect, unless you have burn already on the target, which, unfortunately, since this is a burn E.G.O, you'll most likely be running in a burn build, which means you're probably not going to hit this conditional, unless you're already there, but you might not be, you might be. So it's a pretty decent Lust Fragility, so it's pretty good. Most burn IDs have Lust attacks, so it's pretty good. What's also good is the drip of this E.G.O, and I do like the base way more than I like the corrosion, but the corrosion is also pretty cool. It makes you look more like the abnormality, which is nice, but I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, Sinclair's hair on that abnormality is not the look. It's just not the look. But it is still going to be pretty high because I just like the abnormality and I like the base. So that's probably going to be a whopping like 7. Now, for the strength of this E.G.O, it's not incredibly strong, having a mediocre roll on Awakening and a pretty, it's above average roll on Corrosion. But the attack weight is not enough to push it up. The burn, the little bit of burn you're inflicting is not enough either. But the extra Lust Fragility next turn is fairly good, as if you're running this, you're most likely running a burn team, and most burn teams do have a fair amount of Lust skills. So that's going to bump it up quite a bit, and honestly, that's probably going to be carrying the strength, as it's going to put it at a whopping 5. And for the usefulness of this E.G.O, it's pretty sad because it is not that useful. A couple burn is nice. Lust Fragility is pretty good. More attack weight is nice, and the passive is fairly good, but you have to be using a Lust skill, and you're gaining Lust resources. So that's somewhat niche, somewhat not, but it is a little not. Not everyone's gonna want that. So considering that, it's not that useful. I'll put it at a whopping like 4, 5, 4, 5, 4.5, 4.6, 4.6 probably good. But yeah, this E.G.O is, it looks better than it actually is, I'll say that much. And this might be a hot take, but I don't think it is, because this E.G.O is pretty mediocre, to be frank with you. Well, that's all I gotta say. Have a good day.